So good evening, everyone. Good afternoon. Good morning, wherever you are in the world. As you know by now, my name is Maryam Bey, and I am the host of television. And this is what I always say, and you know I always say this. I have the best guests, okay? I just get so excited, and today I'm really excited because I have a brother. We haven't really seen each other for a while, but I've been watching him on Facebook, and what I did was, Brother Ismial, I had to go and do just a little bit of research on you, just a little bit. It really wasn't a lot. It was just a little bit. But this is what I found out. You've been doing this for like 37 years?
Actually 40 this month.
Oh, well, they had the wrong information then, because it said 37.
Actually, it's longer than that. My organization, 1982. So we could do
Okay,
that.
so they have you. It says that it was founded in 1985, 37 years ago. So that doesn't matter, right? It does not matter, because the fact that it's been
a long
over 30,
time.
it's been a long time.
Yeah.
And what I remember back in the day, myself and the street warriors, street doctor, God rest his soul,
God rest his soul.
Brother Akbar Muhammad, Tony Elijahwan. Whenever you will call something out, you know, as far as protesting or whatever, dealing with activism for the community, we will come and support you. And so now, just having the opportunity to sit with you, because you have done so much in the Union County community. This is in Elizabeth, right? And so what I decided to do that I have not done before, and I'm going to start doing this with my guests, because like I said, the guests are so phenomenal. So what I thought about, I said, I have to find a quote that fits my guests.
Okay.
So this is a quote that I have for you, based on what you've been doing. A life is not important except in the impact it has on other lives.
That's right.
And Jackie Robinson said that.
Wow, that's.
And the reason why I selected that was because you have been doing this work for so many years, and I know the lives that you have impacted. So tell the audience, what made you want to do this almost 40 years ago? And you still look good.
Well,
Yeah.
you don't see the inside, it's all ripped and tangled, but yeah. Well, the real credit goes to my mom. She was in the social justice movement back in the early 60s.
Oh, nice.
She
Now,
was
what
an
was your mom's
organizer
name?
with the National Council of Negro Women.
Oh, okay.
And she got a lot of training from Newark, by the way. And
Okay.
I had no idea. I'm from a family of 8 boys and 3 girls. My goal was to go to school to be a broadcast journalist. Sports.
Okay.
Had no idea I was going to do this stuff. And I'm the only one, as using my brother's word, the only nut in the family that's still out there, you know, holding up the flag. But I give a credit to her. And
What was your mom's name?
Carrie Thomas.
Carrie Thomas. Okay.
People in Elizabeth, they know her.
All right.
But that was really her. And then I started out as a youth counselor, and eventually, and that, again, that's why I said in '79, somewhere around that time, she used to bring me to a lot of the community meetings, and back in the late '70s, you know, the young people that came in their offices or their meetings.
Yes.
That's why I tell a lot of the young activists, I said, you know, we had to pay our dues.
Yes.
And what I had to do is go get them Daily Journal, Star Ledger, Daily News, 6 or 7 coffees, and cigarettes. They were smokers back then.
Right.
And that's what, and I was the one that cleaned up after them and locked the door in the little office. And I learned a lot from that.
Yeah, because I'm sure you heard a lot of things.
I heard a lot of stuff.
Yes.
I heard people like Clarence Coggins, who's from Newark,
Yes.
who was a big organizer,
Yes.
and quite a few other guys in Newark. So a lot of my, came from Newark, and she would always send
Yes.
me to these meetings in Newark. And the older I got, the more I was, got amazed about it. And when I was in school, in college, I was studying to be a journalist at King University, King College at the time. And they would always pull me out of school to do whatever I needed to do. So, in '79, there was an issue with a rec center that the then mayor Dunn, look him up, infamous Dunn, the one that told in 1967 to shoot first, ask question last, and got international attention during the riots,
yes,
or the rebellion. He refused to open up this center, so I was charged to get a bunch of youngsters and crash the city council meeting and demand that they open the center. So we did that. And that was my foray into youth counseling. And I became a youth counselor and then started my own organization in '82. We got incorporated in '85.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And
maybe that's why they had it like
yeah,
that.
We got incorporated in '85. And I just went to a center, one center after another, and just recently closed down after 20 years, our rec center in Elizabeth. We started out basically doing services, counseling, youth-based programs, recreational programs, and then our kids just kept getting picked on by the police and what have you and stuff like that. So yes. We shifted some of our organization to advocacy.
Right.
And that's when I became infamous and worked with groups around the country. In fact, we are incorporated in 4 states, including Washington, D.C.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and so, the rest is history. And,
Well, here's an interesting thing. I was raised in Elizabeth. I went to Baton High School. You remember Jefferson High School for the boys, Baton High School for the girls? Okay.
And I went to Edison Tech.
You went to Edison Tech, okay.
That was for the smart guys.
Oh, excuse me?
It was supposed to be for the smart guys, they said.
Okay. So I went there, and I remember Mayor Dunn and the things that was happening. And then I left Newark and went to Elizabeth. So anyway, when you were talking about Mayor Dunn, I'm remembering the first Mayor Dunn, right?
Right.
And the things that he had done while he was, while he was a mayor.
Yeah.
And so now sitting here with you, I want to ask you, how do you think you impacted the young people that you worked with? I mean, can you tell us some stories about how you may have impacted them?
Well, I can tell you, right before coming to your studio, my driver picked me up and then this kid called me, "Hey, Mr. Salaam, Mr. Salaam." And I came over, they called me Brother Salaam. So I came over, I ain't seen him in a long time now. It's a kid that he had his problem in and out of the system, what have you. And I didn't see him, I said, "You look so good." He said, "Man, I want to tell you, I'll tell my mom what you did for me, da-da-da-da." So I gave him my card, I said, anything I could do. And Mom, got a little teary-eyed, whatever, and said, "Thank you so much for what you did to my son." So that's one little small story just coming here. And I think that, and I don't give all credit to me, is a lot of folks that came involved in our organization, National United Youth Council Incorporated. We done a lot. We dealt with the kids nobody wanted, and you mentioned Street Doctor, and we linked up, actually, Street Doctor, God bless him, always credit me naming him the Street Doctor.
Yes.
But the goal is to turn these youngsters around, that they're not just useless,
or animals.
Yeah, throwaways.
Exactly.
We know that we can reconstruct their lives and put it back on track, and we did that. And I think we did a great deal of it. And out of that, a lot of them are contributing to the community and to society. So I hope that we had a great impact, and I think we did.
Well, after all these years, I know you did.
Yeah.
Because I work in in the prison system. I go back and forth now, but prior to that, I was working actually inside, and I know the difference that people like you and I make when we're inside, working with brothers and sisters, because they need folks like us in there.
Yeah.
Just to encourage them, to get them to understand that just because you committed a crime, it doesn't mean that you are the crime.
Look.
You know, and that you're not defined by it. But unfortunately, in this society, they're defined by what they've done.
Exactly.
And that's why it's so important that we get them to understand, whether they're in prison or outside, young people outside in the community, that you definitely have a purpose for your life.
Yes.
And you
Yes,
have to
ma'am.
find what that purpose is.
And you know, if we pay more attention to that, I always say there's something in everybody that is extraordinary. We just have to tap it.
Exactly.
And a lot of folks find it, and some folks don't. And some people need people like us to help them find
That's right.
that one little piece that can help them to cast their way to have an impact on their lives and others. So,
Exactly. Exactly.
and I, you know, people tell me all the time that, you know, why do you want to deal with those kids? Oh, they're not worth it. And then they see, as we turn them around, say, wow, you've done a great job. I said, because we haven't given up on them.
Right.
And they haven't given up on themselves. And I think that we need more of that. A lot
Absolutely.
of it, there's not a whole lot of folks like out there like there used to be now, because people want money, they want a whole lot of other stuff, glorified,
Right.
whatever jobs and what have you, and so they, you know.
Plus I think in addition to that, a lot of people are afraid of our children.
Yeah.
Or, you know, they are afraid to go inside the prisons and, you know, really do what they need to do.
That's right.
You know, so that's why it's important that we have people like ourselves, you know, who are seasoned and who know that. I always say to them, because I was in the Nation of Islam, and I remember the Honorable Elijah Muhammad always saying, you know, there is greatness in you.
That's right.
And Les Brown says the same thing. So they have to know that there is a king and queen, that there is greatness inside of them.
That's right.
So then once someone keeps on telling you that, then they start, you know what?
That's right.
There must be something to that. And then they'll realize there's greatness in them.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And I think that I wish, I was telling folks, I said, are you going to retire now? Because I have this event that's happening next week, which is celebrating the 40 years of our organization.
Nice.
I said, no, I got other chapters, you know,
That's
and I'll
right.
talk about it later. And, but I think that what I don't see enough of is us kind to making more Maryam, more Salams out there, because there is a potential out there that can impact their lives and others, and I think we need a little bit more of that. And that's going to be my talk for future, because there's a lot of folks that are not either passing the baton or sharing the wealth of knowledge, and I think we need that right now more than anything.
Well, you know what? When you just mentioned the word retirement, right? So at my job, two of the young women was talking to me, and they said, Miss Bey, are you going to retire? I said, no, I'm never going to retire. Why would I do that? You know, I said, I'm 71 years old, and what the Creator has done, when He gives us information, He doesn't give it to us for us.
That's right.
He gives it to us to share, to empower.
That's right.
Right? So
That's right.
why would I have all of this for me?
Yeah.
You know, so we need, this is just my opinion. I'm not saying what people have to do.
Right,
You know,
right.
but I'm just saying that
I agree.
I feel that, as you just said, there's other chapters that that I have to continue.
That's right.
Because once you find your purpose, you continue to grow and empower. And then what you do is you bring on other people who can help, who could help, we can help them to do the same thing.
Right, right. And that's what I want to start speaking more of now, that we have to share. In fact, I'm working on putting together a grassroots summit Zoom call to folks on trying, a lot of new activists trying to share some of the knowledge that I have, you know, and how to be the best that you can be in terms of reaching out to people and having been impactful. Right. So I believe it's far too less of that, you know, and we need more of that. And so that's that's my new chapter. People are going to hear more about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because again, they need to see that there are people there who care and don't judge.
Right.
Because a lot of times what happens is, we judge.
Yeah, we do. We do. We do. And I tell you, it was many times, and people that know me, know my circle, many times I wanted to say, you know what, I'm tired. Or, if you know my work, I've been controversial. I've done all kinds of stuff and what have you, and sometimes and got a lot of attention, media
always
attention,
in the news,
and all that kind of stuff. But what comes with that is people going to want you to be quiet. Now, there's two ways of making you quiet: either kill you like they did most of the leaders, or try to buy you off. And I can tell you, I had enough of that to fill this whole room up. What people offered to me to just chill out, go in another direction, don't worry about nothing, take this envelope, all that kind of stuff, and we'll put you maybe at some university, and you just So this work, you have to be dedicated and willing to give up your own life to defend it. And when I got involved in this, I said to my moms, I said, I'll stay this until the end of the day. But I want to be able to leave this earth to be able to have an impact on folks.
Yes.
And because it's senseless for us to just leave here and then, have an impact and haven't left nothing behind.
Exactly, because I think it's selfish of people when they acquire so much and it's not given back.
No.
So now you're sitting here as this reserved man, okay? Mm-hmm. You're not as reserved when you're out in the streets.
Well, folks know.
Quiet,
Folks know I do not always wear this suit, looking good, this polished and haircut. No, I'm known for having my hat, having my bullhorn, and going to work.
Yes,
so
you be going hard.
That's my true image.
Yes.
And that's work, but I've been learning how to take it down a little bit. I'm going to a friend of mine's birthday event. He said, go out, take it down, Salaam. So I've been working. That's what I've been working on. Take it down a little bit.
Well, you know what the word that came to me while you was talking was compromise. Mm-hmm. See, people like us don't compromise. No. It's like it either is or it ain't. And just as simple as that.
And that's what I've always been. And I think that is. I would consider myself very unique in the struggle or in the grassroots movement because a lot of us don't stay this long in it.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I can tell you that a lot of brothers that I've worked with over the years, and sisters, and groups and organizations don't even exist no more, or they have took another route. Got a real good job and whatever, and that's it. So it's very rare that people on this level of understanding stay in the game long. Right. Let alone to my age and what have you.
Right.
But you gotta love what you do, and
And when you're living your purpose, it's not work.
No, it's not. It's not. It's serious. There's not too many a whole time where you get the chance to rest. Sometimes you're up 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Right. And you're preparing for the next day, and the next day is harsh, because maybe you may be meeting a crying mom who just lost their son who was shot down by police, or shot down in the streets by a friend or whatever. Exactly. Or somebody that need help because they lost their job indiscriminately. You just, and you get those calls, and you have to step up to them and help. And through my organization, that's what we've been doing. We've been, unapologetically
Yes.
addressing these issues. And sometimes we clash with people that look like us.
Oh, no, absolutely. A lot of times it's people that look like us.
It ain't just been the so-called the man. It be
Right.
people that look just like
Exactly.
And even people that may be in the struggle, but just disagree how your approach is. And I've been what I got a lot. They say, Salaam, I support you, but just your approach. I say, okay, well, show me what's the approach, because they're not going to listen to me. I mean, they're not going to hear us. Frederick Douglass said, power can see nothing without the man. Never did and never will. So, and that was 1857 when he said that. So, what made it change now?
Right.
I can't just go knock on the door and say, please, Mr. Sir, ma'am, institution, organization, group, police, whoever, could you please just stop doing that? Not going to happen like that.
And what's happening today is like, with everything that's happening in this society, in some ways it looks like we're going backwards because we're fighting again, you know, for some of the same rights.
And you would think, you would think that, and I'm gonna mention, I know you interviewed me, but I want to throw this out there because I've been asked this a lot of times. They said, well, Salaam, shouldn't the struggle be a little bit more easier for you? You got Facebook, Twitter, Instagram,
Right.
and all this kind of podcasts and all this mediocrity.
Right.
I said, actually, it made it harder. So what do you mean?
How?
I said, it's much more harder now because people got so many more distractions. People got so many other persuasion. People are more...
Oh, okay.
You can call a rally. I'll give you an example. You can call a rally. I mean, I've called rallies and whatever. I get 100, boom. And they're there when I didn't have all the other stuff.
Right.
Now, people would just say, I'll watch it on Zoom, I'll watch it on Facebook, or, or I'll get distracted by other stuff.
Right.
You know, I'll just watch TikTok all day. I'm not coming out to that. So it's far more difficult. Anybody that's been in the game
I see that.
No, it's much more. Me and Larry Ham, who people may know is a human rights
from
advocate,
Pops, yeah.
we talked about that before and he said it's tougher now because of the competition with all the social media and what have you. It's very, very more difficult. And then now you almost have to play some of the, you almost have to do what they do. You're going to have money. You have to have a whole lot of other stuff to do extra stuff to mobilize folks around it. It's very, very difficult. But, you just got to get more creative.
Yeah, that's true. We definitely have to do that. And then the other thing that we're dealing with now, we have a lot of mental health issues going on. You know, I always say, particularly with brothers and sisters who've been incarcerated, that when they come home, they need to have a real good therapist. Because there's so many things that happened to them while they were incarcerated.
Oh my gosh.
And then they come out with those issues, and if they don't have someone who they could comfortably talk to and trust, they don't heal the way that they should. And it's not just them, it's a lot of us who haven't been incarcerated, and we're still going through some things as well. So today, we have a lot of mental health issues, and we need to have the right people to help address that, especially with our young people.
I was on this commission back in 2015. It was put together by Senator Lesniak. It was part of the legislature.
Okay, yes.
And out of that came this 9-member commissioner panel. Actually, our organization introduced, passed legislation, boom. So we did a study on violence.
Okay.
And to make a long story short, out of that, one of the biggest things that came out of it is mental health issues. A lot of folks, and including more Democrats than Republicans, because that's their thing.
Right.
But it was real. Because if you look at some of the, and speaking of the prison system, a lot of those guys that come out of prison, they're not fixed. In fact, they're worse off when they come out because now they really jammed up. They've been isolated for an amount of years, they come out, and their families are still poor.
That's right.
The communities still look the same, impoverished, no lights, no streets, no street lights, broken down homes and whatever. And so now they're more angry. That's why 50, 60% go back. And so until you address that part, you're going to keep this cycle. And the cycle changes, They say, oh yeah, we reduced the number of prison inmates or whatever, but you haven't really had an
Yeah,
impact
but you
on
haven't
our
addressed
community.
it, but you haven't addressed
Exactly.
the issue
Right.
that needs to be done with them so that when they come home, because I believe that reentry starts while you're inside.
Right inside.
With the
absolutely.
right people.
That's
with the
right.
right people.
Exactly.
Because, as you said, there's a high level of recidivism, and the reason why it's that way is because when they come out, there are not the needs that need to be met are not being met by them, and so what a lot of people will do is go back to what they know. And I've just been told that it's time for me to wrap it up, and so I like to have your last words. So what do you, where do you see yourself?
Oh man, first of all, I appreciate you inviting me here. It was wonderful. I like the studio,
Thank you.
everything around. I'm still trying to do some other things.
That's right.
And the other thing I want to show you real quick is this little thing right here.
Oh, is that your granddaughter?
That's my granddaughter.
Oh, nice.
So somehow I got to do something different.
Oh.
I got to, do
That's
some
right.
grandfathering. I can
Exactly.
save the world, but
That's
I got to
right, but you
do
gotta
that.
save, that's right.
I got to do that.
That's right.
So that's
right.
another
okay.
part of the new chapter.
Okay, and I'm joining you because I have 7 grandchildren and 2 great-grandchildren.
Oh, wow.
So we
I wanted to
gotta
have
keep
that
on your
many,
network.
but my daughter said, you only get one.
Okay, well, Brother Ismail, it was, Salaam, it was just so nice having you on today. I'm so happy that you came. And I know you're going to continue to do what you're doing, because people like us, we don't stop.
No, we don't stop. A very battery.
Yes, and my name is Maryam Bey, and I want to thank you so much for joining us today, and my guest, Brother Ismial Salaam. Have a great day. Thank you.